The dust swirled around my worn boots as I surveyed the new fence. It wasn't just any fence. It was a monument to spite, a declaration of war from the Henderson Oaks Homeowners Association, and it directly, unequivocally, blocked the main access to my ranch. My ranch, the Lazy Acre, had been in my family for 3 generations. It wasn't sprawling, but it was home, and the dirt road leading to it, a historical easement, had been used without issue for decades. Until the Henderson Oaks HOA decided their pristine, planned community needed to be unranch-like. I'd tried reasoning, presenting my historical deeds, even offering to pave the section of the road that bordered their development. Mr. Albright, the HOA president, a man whose smile always seemed to be hiding a fresh lemon, just patted my shoulder condescendingly. "Mr. Peterson," he'd cooed, "we understand your rustic charm, but our residents prefer exclusivity, and frankly, your cattle are an eyesore." That's when they built the fence. A wrought iron monstrosity with a locked gate just beyond where my property began, effectively landlocking me from the main road. The only other access was a treacherous, unmaintained track through the backwoods that added an hour to any trip. My initial reaction was a volcanic fury. I consulted lawyers, but the legal battle looked long, expensive, and uncertain, tangled in zoning laws and HOA bylaws. As I sat on my porch watching the sunset paint the sky in fiery hues, a different kind of fire ignited in me. A slow-burning, methodical fire. I remembered a casual conversation with Old Man Hemlock, who'd lived here longer than anyone. He'd mentioned that the main thoroughfare, Henderson Oaks Boulevard, the very street the HOA now claimed as their own, wasn't actually part of their original development. It was an old county road, decommissioned, and then, well, it got fuzzy. I spent weeks at the county records office poring over dusty maps and faded documents. The clerks looked at me strangely as I traced old property lines with my finger, and then I found it. A tiny, almost overlooked detail in a land transfer from the 1970s. The county had indeed decommissioned the road, but in a bureaucratic oversight, it had never been properly absorbed by any subsequent developer. It had essentially been left orphaned, a forgotten strip of asphalt. And it was available. It took every penny I had, a second mortgage on the ranch, and a good deal of legal acrobatics. But I did it. I bought Henderson Oaks Boulevard, all 2 miles of it, from the county line right up to the entrance of their development. The property deed, crisp and new, lay on my kitchen table, undeniable proof. The day I put up my own no trespassing signs was glorious. They weren't wrought iron, just simple wooden posts with bold red lettering, but the message was clear. Then came the heavy equipment, a grader, a couple of dump trucks, and my old tractor. I started at my ranch gate, the one they'd blocked, and worked my way down. I wasn't blocking the road. I was performing essential maintenance. Potholes? Filled. Shoulders? Graded. And right at the point where their fancy HOA entrance began, I installed a new, even fancier gate, a heavy, automated one, with a keypad. Mr. Albright, sputtering and red-faced, was the first to confront me. "What in the blazes do you think you're doing, Peterson?" he shrieked, his voice cracking. I leaned against my tractor, wiping sweat from my brow. "Just maintaining my property, Mr. Albright. You see this here road? Henderson Oaks Boulevard? It's mine now." His jaw dropped. That's preposterous." "Is it?" I held up a copy of the deed. "The county records seem to think otherwise, and as the owner of this private road, I'm instituting a toll, effective immediately." The Henderson Oaks HOA, which had prided itself on exclusivity, was now beholden to me. The toll was steep, certainly enough to cover my mortgage and then some. And for good measure, I put in a clause. All HOA-approved commercial traffic, deliveries, landscapers, etc., would pay double. And of course, the gate to my ranch was now wide open, bypassing their blockade entirely directly onto my road. The complaints were torrential. They threatened lawsuits, boycotts, even a picket line. But I simply pointed to the deeds, the legal documents, and the simple fact that they were driving on my land. Eventually, Mr. Albright came to my porch again. But this time, he wasn't smiling. He was defeated. "Mr. Peterson," he began, "we need to talk. Perhaps we can negotiate a new arrangement." I just smiled. A slow, easy rancher's smile. "Well now, Mr. Albright," I said, "that sounds like an interesting proposition. But first, about that old easement road to my ranch, I think we need to discuss its reopening, and perhaps a substantial apology. Sometimes, the best way to teach a lesson isn't with anger, but with property deeds and a strategically purchased street. And as my cattle grazed peacefully, and the residents of Henderson Oaks begrudgingly paid their tolls, I knew that the Lazy Acre was more than just a ranch. It was a monument to sweet, sweet revenge.